So one day, out of the blue, I get an email from this guy, Jerry Justice. He is a Georgia Tech professor, and he just sends me an email quickly and say, "Hey, I think I figured out your grandfather's UFO story."
The sunlight would be strong enough to actually ionize part of the barium. And the neutral barium would look greenish, bluish color. The ionized barium would look sort of reddish color and would stretch out along the field lines of the Earth's magnetic field. And so this was part of the studies is to determine characteristics of the Earth's magnetic field at those altitudes.
The Air Force was absolutely launching sounding rockets during that time and continues to this day for a variety of purposes. They would have had different things in them that they would have dumped into the atmosphere, for example, to test radio reflectability and other aspects of military operations. So it's not unusual or odd at all that a person could have seen a cloud like that in the sky.
As it starts out as a small little point of light that glows, and it expands into a big giant orb that turns red or blue, depending on how the sun hits it and how the barium gets ionized, and then it dissipates. And I was like, wow, that sounds exactly like the story that I've heard my entire life of my grandfather's UFO.
So did you pass that on? And what did the president think of that?
He was excited about it. He was excited to have an answer. And moving from unidentified to identified was very satisfactory for him. He wanted to know what it was. Because when my grandfather told that story, a lot of people assumed that he saw Venus. He grew up looking at the sky. He grew up interested in astronomy. He grew up as a naval officer. He knew what Venus looked like, and he was offended that people thought that he didn't know what Venus was.
Professor Justice tracked down the exact launch on the right day and time that President Carter had been outside the Lions Club, and found that Carter's estimates of direction and elevation had been almost exactly right on the money.
Well, my initial findings I sent to the Carter Center and heard back from them that they had passed it along to President Carter for his analysis, and he basically concurred that it was plausible that that was indeed what he had seen.
And so, to the president's own satisfaction, it turns out that his UFO was a fairly exotic piece of airborne clutter, an artificial barium cloud.